Hi, I'm Darryl Mans, and I'm running to be the next district attorney here in Gwinnett County. You can find me in the truth and standing with the people. Here I have with me Miss Elvia. She has a story that she would like to tell you all. Please start by introducing yourself.
Hello, my name is Elvia Davila, and I'm running for your next State House Representative in District 108. You can find me at voteelviaforhouse.com. And I do have a story. Darryl Mans, how are you? Alrighty. Well, I was victim of crime in December of 18 of 2021, and we didn't get any justice in this Superior Court from Patsy Alston Gaston. Um, the killer that murdered my husband went from malice murder to felony murder to no murder at all to voluntary manslaughter. We're still waiting for justice, and I'm not okay how the case played out. We were not contacted by the district attorney's office along the process. We were switched from one prosecutor that was handling the case to another prosecutor last minute. So remember that October 18, Darryl Mans, when we met after the case, I requested to talk to the whole team of Patsy. You were there at that time in that office. And what do you think we could have done different? I asked that question, and I remember that you said you were the one that helped out to switch from one prosecutor to the other one. So I felt that she had more than enough evidence. That's what we were told, to no evidence pretty much at all at the end. And I never was okay with that. So we protested for over a year, and found out that there's a lot of other victims in Gwinnett dealing with the same thing. So that really pushed me to stand up and legislate so no other victims keep falling for these type of district attorneys. We need to hold them accountable. And we definitely need a change in Gwinnett. There's a lot of pain in a lot of families, and it's not okay just to send us home and stay quiet about it. We got to fight and do the right thing, and that's what I'm here to do. I was part of SB 92 to hold accountability for wrongdoing. So what can you have done different?
Thank you for your question. I think that's very fair. What happened to you is a breakdown in the system. First of all, Marcy's law requires the prosecutor's office, in this case, the district attorney's office, the office of Patsy Alston Gaston, to notify you about everything that's happened in your case. That's the first failure of the system in regards to what happened with you. Exactly. The individual attorneys that handle the cases that are hired by Miss Alston Gaston and do the work in the place of Miss Alston Gaston, they report directly to her in terms of how murder cases are handled. So Miss Alston Gaston makes individually every decision about every murder case that comes in the office. The rest of the lawyers stand in line behind her as she makes those decisions, as I would say. What happened in your case in particular with the attorneys changing places, one of the attorney who first had the case in that particular case, if I recall correctly, she was Christina Lee. That's who it was. She was an experienced prosecutor, but not as experienced as a prosecutor who was eventually assigned to your case. He's been prosecuting. I remember that I was an intern when I was an intern when that lawyer was in his training class. So I was an intern, but he was prosecuting before I was, obviously. His failure in the system is the failure of Miss Alston Gaston, not his failure, because Miss Alston Gaston is the one who's making those decisions about what happens on those cases. He would have had to run all those decisions by Miss Alston Gaston. I was not privy to all those conversations, so I'm not 100% sure in terms of what happened factually, and 100% sure what happened in terms of why they made 100% the decision they made. But I do understand that you should have been notified. You should have been kept aware. There's never a time when an inexperienced prosecutor should be on a murder case. Murder cases are too important to practice on. And that's one of the sayings that I'd always say as a prosecutor. You can't practice on murder cases. You can't practice on these cases because they matter and they have people's lives in the balance. So again, I understand why you feel how you feel. I promise for transparency, because accountability goes both ways. Like we hold defendants accountable for their actions, and in exchange, the citizens get to hold us accountable for our actions as prosecutors. And that's the way that it should be, and that's the way the system is set up.
So, Darryl, tell me, what can you do for the case? Would you be able to reopen the case?
That's a good question. Like I said, you can always find me in the truth and standing behind the people. In your particular case, once a case has been resolved, and this particular case, your case has pled out to manslaughter, it's difficult, if not impossible, to reopen a case once it's been pled like that, because what they call double jeopardy attaches. However, you do still have remedies. Marcy's law requires that you be notified of any activity in your case involving plea negotiations, involving a plea itself, and things of that nature. So you do have remedies in that from that angle. And you can also, there are also ways within Marcy law that I think that you can actually have the case reopened. So you have to look into the Marcy's law. And I promise you that when I'm elected, I can't promise you the results, but I can promise you the effort in looking into it and seeing what happened and how we can treat you fairly and make sure that you get the justice you deserve.
I appreciate that, Darryl. Thank you. And I really hope that a better outcome comes out of what we got here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Darryl Mans. I'm going to be your next district attorney. You can find me at www.mansforda.com. Thank you, and I would love your support. This is approved by Mans for DA LLC.